In the quiet neighborhood of Maple Grove, everyone knew Karen as the safety watchdog. She took her role very seriously, constantly keeping an eye out for anything she deemed dangerous. From unkempt yards to oversized swings, nothing escaped her scrutiny. So, when she spotted Mike building a treehouse in his backyard, she felt a surge of protectiveness and concern. Karen planted herself on her porch, arms crossed and eyes narrowed. She watched as Mike enthusiastically assembled wood planks and colorful decorations with his kids by his side. To them, it was a magical adventure where they could play and laugh to their heart's content. Yet to Karen, it looked like an accident waiting to happen. "That thing is a safety hazard," she muttered under her breath, shaking her head at the sight. Soon after, fueled by her worry, Karen decided to report Mike's construction to the local authorities. "It's an unauthorized structure," she insisted, imagining all the potential dangers a treehouse could pose. Little did she know that Mike was meticulous in his planning. He had all the necessary permits from his job at the local government, ensuring everything complied with safety standards. As Mike continued working on the treehouse, Karen felt justified in her actions, thinking she was protecting the neighborhood from recklessness. However, what she didn't realize was that sometimes a little imagination and joy were exactly what a community needed. Mike was not just any dad, he was a dedicated employee in the local government, known for his hard work and commitment to the community. Every day, he spent hours at his desk, planning ways to improve services and make life better for the residents of Maple Grove. He enjoyed his job, but what truly filled his heart with joy was being a father. After long days at work, Mike loved coming home to his two children, Emma and Jake. They would often share stories about their day, and he would listen attentively, making them feel valued and heard. One evening, after hearing his kids talk about how much they wished for a place to play and imagine, an idea sparked in Mike's mind: a treehouse. He envisioned a cozy retreat where they could unleash their creativity and enjoy endless adventures. With excitement bubbling inside him, Mike started gathering materials on weekends. He carefully planned each detail, ensuring that the treehouse would be safe and sturdy. He even consulted local building guidelines to ensure everything was up to code. The thought of his children climbing up into their very own treehouse made him smile. As he worked on the project, Mike felt a sense of pride. Not only was he creating a fun space for his kids, but he was also setting an example of joy and imagination. Little did he know, his efforts would soon attract attention from Karen, who saw things quite differently. As Mike diligently worked on the treehouse, Karen's anxiety grew stronger. From her porch, she squinted at the structure taking shape in the backyard, and her heart raced with worry. To her, this wasn't just a whimsical project, it was an accident waiting to happen. She imagined children climbing up rickety ladders and jumping off high platforms, completely disregarding any safety precautions. "Who does he think he is?" she grumbled under her breath, mentally labeling the treehouse as an unauthorized structure. To Karen, Mike's project seemed reckless. Her mind filled with worst-case scenarios, injured children and frantic parents calling for help. This was unacceptable. Without gathering all the facts, Karen sprang into action. She quickly grabbed her phone and reported Mike to the local authorities, convinced she was doing the right thing for the neighborhood. "Somebody has to keep our community safe," she firmly told herself, feeling justified in her decision. Days passed as Karen watched from their lawn, growing increasingly annoyed every time she saw Mike smiling as he helped his children cackle with joy while they planned secret adventures in their new treehouse. She couldn't understand why others would cheer for what she saw as a dangerous risk. Ignoring the sound of laughter and excitement, she remained focused on her mission to protect Maple Grove from what she believed to be a foolish undertaking. While Karen sat on her porch fretting about the dangers she believed the treehouse posed, Mike was busy proving her wrong. Before he even lifted a single hammer, he made sure to do everything by the book. As a diligent employee in local government, Mike understood the importance of following regulations. He knew that building something as exciting as a treehouse required proper permits. Mike researched the local guidelines, meeting with building officials to discuss his plans. They advised him on safety standards and requirements, ensuring that his vision would be both fun and secure for his children. Mike filled out the necessary paperwork, detailing exactly how he intended to build the treehouse, including dimensions and safety features. Once his application was approved, he received the permits with a sense of accomplishment. He felt proud of his commitment to safety, knowing that this project adhered to the rules designed to protect families in Maple Grove. After all, creating an enjoyable space for Emma and Jake was important, but so was their safety while playing in it. As Mike constructed the treehouse, every nail and board reflected careful planning and responsible choices. He hoped that once completed, the structure would not only serve as a magical retreat for his kids but would also showcase how following regulations could lead to happy outcomes in the community. Little did he know that Karen's worries stemmed from a misunderstanding of his efforts to create something special for his family. As the days passed, excitement filled the air around Mike's house. The rhythmic sounds of hammers and saws mixed with the joyous laughter of his kids, Emma and Jake, as they played nearby. With every board Mike secured, their enthusiasm grew. They imagined all the adventures they would have in their new treehouse, a secret hideout for pirate quests, a launch pad for space missions, and a cozy nook for storytelling under a starlit sky. "Look at Dad go!" Emma cheered, her eyes sparkling as she watched Mike measure and cut the wood with precision. Jake joined in, running around with toy tools, pretending to help while injecting their playful spirit into the construction site. Their giggles mingled with the sounds of construction, creating an atmosphere of pure joy and excitement. Meanwhile, Karen sat on her porch, stewing in her frustrations. Each joyful shout seemed to echo her growing discontent. "This is not a safe environment," she muttered to herself, shaking her head as she watched the kids play near the construction zone. To her, their laughter felt misplaced in a situation she perceived as dangerous. As Mike expertly navigated his project, blissfully unaware of Karen's mounting irritation, he focused solely on creating a magical oasis for his children. The stark contrast between the happiness radiating from the kids and Karen's scowling face made it all the more evident that their perspectives were worlds apart, one filled with love and imagination, and the other clouded by worry and fear. The day Mike had been eagerly anticipating finally arrived, the completion of the treehouse. With the last nail hammered in and a fresh coat of paint adorning the structure, Mike stood back to admire his handiwork. Emma and Jake couldn't contain their excitement, they danced around him, practically bursting with joy at the sight of their new play area. Knowing that this was a special moment, Mike decided to host a ribbon-cutting ceremony to celebrate. He reached out to the mayor, inviting her to join in on the festivities and cut the ceremonial ribbon. The mayor was delighted by the invitation and agreed to attend, seeing it as an opportunity to engage with the community. As word spread through Maple Grove, neighbors became curious and excited about joining the celebration. Decorations adorned Mike's yard, with colorful banners and balloons swaying gently in the breeze. On the morning of the event, everyone gathered, buzzing with anticipation. Children ran about while adults mingled and chatted. However, from her porch, Karen felt a knot tighten in her stomach as she watched the growing crowd. The sound of cheering and laughter was like nails on a chalkboard for her. How can they celebrate something so dangerous, she thought angrily. While everyone else embraced this joyful occasion, Karen continued to seethe with frustration at what she perceived as recklessness in their midst. She braced herself for what felt like an impending disaster, a stark contrast to the happiness surrounding her neighbor's achievement. The day of the ribbon-cutting ceremony dawned bright and sunny, perfect for a celebration. Mike's yard was transformed into a festive scene, filled with colorful balloons and vibrant banners that fluttered in the gentle breeze. Neighbors began to arrive, their faces beaming with excitement as they gathered around the newly completed treehouse. Children raced to claim the best spots, their giggles filling the air with joy. Mike stood near the entrance of the treehouse, wearing a proud smile as he welcomed each guest. Emma and Jake, dressed in matching t-shirts adorned with Treehouse Adventure logos, bounced on their toes, eager to show off their new play area. The atmosphere buzzed with chatter and laughter as people exchanged stories about childhood adventures and shared in the anticipation of what this treehouse would mean for the neighborhood. As the mayor arrived, everyone cheered, adding to the festive energy. She approached Mike with a warm smile, ready to cut the ribbon and mark this special occasion. The crowd quieted down, eyes fixed on the pair as they prepared for the ceremonial moment. But through all the excitement, Karen remained on her porch, arms crossed tightly and a scowl on her face. She felt increasingly isolated from the celebration surrounding her. The cheerful sounds of laughter and clapping only deepened her resolve that something had to be done about what she still viewed as a reckless project. To her, the impending disaster seemed inevitable, even as everyone else reveled in their happiness. As the moment arrived, the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation. The mayor stepped forward, standing beside Mike, who looked both proud and nervous. With a wide smile on his face, Mike held the ceremonial scissors, ready to cut the bright red ribbon that stretched across the entrance of the treehouse. "Ladies and gentlemen," the mayor announced, her voice ringing clear above the crowd, "today we celebrate not just a beautiful treehouse but also community spirit and family fun." The crowd erupted in cheers, their applause echoing through Maple Grove. Children clapped their hands wildly, eyes gleaming with excitement at the thought of all their future adventures. With a confident snip, Mike cut the ribbon, and an eruption of cheers followed suit. "Let's get this party started," he shouted, and all around him parents raised their hands in celebration while children raced toward the treehouse. Laughter filled the air as they climbed up into their new haven, eager to explore every nook and cranny. Neighbors exchanged warm smiles and joyful stories about their own childhood spent climbing trees and building forts. The scene was one of happiness and unity, the community coming together to honor an achievement that would create countless memories. Yet from her porch, Karen remained stoic, arms crossed tight against her chest as she watched the scene unfold before her. Her heart sank at each cheer and clap, to her it felt like they were celebrating recklessness rather than safety. As everyone else reveled in joy and laughter, she felt more alone than ever in her beliefs. As the festivities unfolded, Karen remained firmly rooted on her lawn, arms crossed tightly against her chest. The cheerful noise of celebration drifted toward her, but it felt like a distant echo compared to the storm brewing inside her. Her neighbors clapped and cheered for Mike, their faces lit with excitement, while she felt enveloped in shadows of frustration and isolation. With each laughter that rang out, Karen's heart sank a little deeper. How can they all be so blind, she thought, her brow furrowing as she scanned the scene before her. To her, it was a gathering of recklessness, a group of adults encouraging children to play around something she believed was unsafe. As children climbed up into the treehouse, their screams of joy pierced through her resolve, making her pulse quicken with anxiety. "Is no one else worried?" she murmured to herself, shaking her head in disbelief. She felt alienated from the happy crowd, as if they were celebrating a disaster waiting to happen, one that she had tried to prevent. Each clap and cheer from the community only fueled her determination to speak up again. While families shared in joyful memories being created in that treehouse, Karen's own memories echoed with cautionary tales of safety and responsibility. In that moment, as the world around her laughed and played, she braced herself against the tide of happiness that felt so foreign to her, alone in her conviction that something had to change. As the festivities continued, Karen felt a whirlwind of emotions grappling for control inside her. While she stood on her lawn, arms still crossed defensively, she couldn't help but notice the genuine happiness radiating from her neighbors. Families chatted and laughed, and children gleefully dashed up and down the treehouse steps, their joyful shouts contrasting sharply with her own rising anxiety. "Am I the only one who sees the risks?" she wondered to herself. But as she observed Mike's proud smile and the way he engaged with the community, a flicker of doubt crept in. Perhaps this wasn't just a reckless venture after all. Maybe Mike was fostering connections, creating memories, and bringing the neighborhood together in a way that might be more valuable than her concerns about safety. Karen contemplated the idea that her strict views had clouded her judgment. Had she become so focused on rules and caution that she failed to appreciate the joy and creativity unfolding right before her eyes? As she watched Mike interact with the mayor and his children, something began to shift within her. The spirit of togetherness was palpable. Yet, the inner conflict remained. Her instincts pushed her to speak out against what she believed was dangerous, while her heart tugged at the possibility that perhaps community spirit and engagement were equally crucial. In that moment, Karen realized she was at a crossroads, torn between her protective instincts and the warmth of connection surrounding her.